Welcome everyone to Cavern Stage 105. This is where we're gonna continue our climb. I've farmed for yet another day. In the background, it was not me, it was my computer mainly. I was just the manager clicking farm this, farm that a couple of times a day, which means it is kind of manageable. I would prefer background battles, real background battles though. At the end of the day, I had about 2 hours or so of computer uptime when I actually farmed stage 60 for a lot of gold, and I think I have a bit too much gold, but this means that we can try out a couple of artifact sets if push comes to shove. Now, in the meantime, there was a comment written 40 minutes from the recording. I'm not sure when this video is gonna be aired because it's not live, as you know. That said, so from Slatina Nature, I've played for a bit, very interesting concept and theme, but heavy on the grind, do you agree? Of course, this is the genre. So if you check out any game for that matter, including Raid, including Ethereal Restart, including Godforge, and including many others, there is a concept that you need to build a team that is basically fast as possible, because in-game time and real time are merged on some level, similarly to how in-game resources and your real wallet, you know, with real money, will be merged at some point in time, assuming that if you cannot complete something fully, then you pay if you want to complete it. Basically, it doesn't mean that you cannot complete basically anything in the game. It just means that if you don't want the grind, then you pay. That's how these types of games are funded, and some people prefer this way because they want to compete to the top of the top. Now, Godforge is still more promising than most of these other games in the genre, because there may be some competitions that are normalized in a sense that it's not determined by the wallet, the size of your wallet, but determined by your skill. So this is something that is interesting and also important. Just like in case of Ethereal Restart, if you have skill but you don't want to spend thousands, you can still compete. Now, I read some people leave their machines overnight to farm. Yeah, that's what I refuse to do, like in general. It's not about Bitcoin mining, you know, back in the days that you leave it open. No, it's just in-game resources like pixels. Why would I leave my computer open and use my computer for nothing else? Why would I do this? Obviously I won't. What I would prefer is if there was an option to do these types of battles without the computer staying on, without the second device staying on. Obviously, you don't want to buy a new phone every 3 months, evidently. Right now there are no background battles, but this is once again an alpha experience, it's not the final version. Well, talk about dedication. Yeah, this is not dedication, this is kind of normal, unfortunately. So, in the genre, this is kind of normal. Although, me not doing it means that I may have a competitive disadvantage. But I've done this at least once or twice in the past. And the reason why people do it is that this is their only chance to play right now this alpha and get experience with as many heroes as possible. So once in a while I do it myself too when I have to, right? Once in a while, like once a year, twice a year. And this is the second ever alpha. I got to around level 60, yeah, the Golden Guardian, and this game tired me out. Still pondering whether I should return to it. Yeah, so you see, this is the grindy nature. Now, it's a very interesting concept, because when it comes to Raid, and I'm not talking about Godforge because once again this is an alpha experience. Meanwhile, let's get the battles running so that we can do something in the meantime. I hope I will finish it. I will try a couple of teams if I fail, but you know, the more you advance, the less the grind means to you, less incremental upgrades. And what's good about Godforge is that is the limitless possibilities that you can basically use to construct the different teams. Oh, my roster is nearly full. Okay. So I didn't know about that. Anyway, I'll do something with my roster, and meanwhile I'm gonna talk about this concept. So Stockholm Syndrome. When it comes to games like Raid that are grindy, first you freak out. That's what I did as well during the Hell Hades challenge. So I essentially freaked out like crazy. That what is this game? What is this stupidity? It's crazy, like why do you have to keep... Back then there was not even super rates available, nothing. Oh wait, I need to reduce the number of units, yeah, fine. Not even super rates were available back in the days. What's the point of this whole mess? Like, why do we have to do this? Why cannot just run auto battles? And then I started some debates, intellectual debates, not like my opinion is better than yours, but just intellectual debates with some seasoned players, telling them that, listen, this is stupid, that you have to watch the don't have to watch, but the battle has to be rendered on screen every single time. And then the answer I got from multiple people was like, oh, it's because you have to play the game. And this is playing the game. And I argued, no, this is not playing the game. This is like running some battles in the background and you doing something else if you're smart enough. Or streaming is a form of doing something else, right? Because they were streaming. And it's basically not playing the game. And after a while I was like, okay, this capitalizes too much of my time, like this doesn't make any sense. But then, around like month 1 or so, I was like, listen, I signed up for the Hell Hades challenge back then. I signed up for competition. I got the competition, basically. I got what I chose for. And why am I complaining? Just because the competition is hard. And then I figured out, if I want to win, then I have to play. And then somehow it has got me through this 3 months of grind, that there were a few cases when I had no earphones with me. I went home from work through some like good looking places, like for example some big parks and so on. Like big parks meaning like multiple kilometers, like a forest in the middle of the city, like Central Park or Hyde Park, you know, just a different city. So I was like going through, but unfortunately, given I was still in early game, the only thing I could do is farm Minotaur's Labyrinth stage 15. And back then there were no Minotaur super rates, like 2x, and there were no background battles, so I essentially had to, whenever I looked at my phone, I had to see that someone is damaging the Minotaurs, basically. And it was so stupid. And I understand, oh, I don't need this. I understand this is stupid, and after about 3 months, I was like, listen, I've put in so much work in it, you know, not exactly sunk cost fallacy, but the more attention you pay on something, the more it becomes the part of your everyday reality. After 30, 60, 90 days, some habits are formed, right? And I was like, I was intrigued because the gameplay mechanics are excellent. It's like something really good. And I was intrigued in where it's gonna go, at least reach the heights that, for example, Bone did, the winner of the Hell Hades challenge. So I kept on going, not that dedicated, but I was still somewhat active back in the days. And then after a while I figured out how this works, because I was also looking for the other side. Not the gamer side, but the game creator side, the product manager side, the engineer side, because I'm an engineer. And I was looking for what makes this genre successful. I was decoding this like over and over and over again with these things. I was trying to get immersed with, okay, they advertise some new hero or new champion in Raid, and how the marketing campaign goes. And then I figured out that Raid is all about screwing players over as much as possible. In a way, imagine it like a casino where the casino host is obviously Plarium, the raid company. And then you just basically deal with resources. So sometimes you give people resources, other times you take their resources away. And you usually take their resources away just before you get something amazing to offer. Some big update, some new champion that everyone wants, like Alice the Wanderer or whoever else. This is when you take their shards away with some tempting, this is baiting, and then people feel, oh, I messed up, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy enough, let me compensate by opening my wallet. Mixed fusion, no problem, Visa, MasterCard, there you go. And this is when people can spend hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in the game. It has happened to multiple people. Do they regret it? I think most do. Why? Because it's not rational to invest that much in pixels that you cannot sell yourself because it's against the terms and conditions. If it was an NFT game where it is yours, then you could at least sell it. But then the problem with NFTs is that there is a boom and bust cycle because humans are greedy, also fearful. So fear and greed dictates that you pump the price up and then you exit as soon as you made a profit, crashing the price, and then those people will just be less interested in the game itself because they've cashed out, and the rest won't be able to cash out anyway. And they just lose. So this is some kind of a pyramid scheme whenever you deal with NFT-like games. So this is why most companies don't go this route, because if you can trade with these pixels and you can make a profit out of it, then fear and greed will essentially overtake the gaming experience, and then the regular gamers who are actually interested in all this will be punished by those who are greedy and cash out. So this means that you don't have an upside unless you create content and you're better about it than me so far, because you run it as a business, you know, with some agencies, some people edit and so on. I have some ideas, by the way, but that's like coding, programming, and this is just me learning about the genre, by the way. So this channel will do some new things as well that you might not even know about. But anyway, so this is the trajectory of how these types of games usually work. And you may say this is unfair, you may say this is inhuman, incorrect, and so on. But hey, like, life is not it's not gonna provide equal opportunities for everyone. Life is sometimes really bitter. And this is a training for life. Let it be raid, let it be something else. So this is like you learn valuable life skills. What kind of life skills? In raid, for example, there was a specific option where they screwed me over too, because I just couldn't anticipate with all my research, all my skills, everything else, that they needed a bit more shards at the very end of the cycle of a promotion. It's called a Titan event, and I was on track with the Titan event, and at the end I figured out that oops, I should have gone either all in on the summon rush or all in on the champion chase, and I didn't know that it works like this because I hadn't gone through maxing out the Titan event. And at the end I didn't have the shards. I could have gone in with my wallet with 50 to 150 or 50 to $100, but I refused to do it. So essentially what happened at the end is that well, I gave up at the finish line because I couldn't continue. So me giving up means that it was the mature solution because I stick to my principles. I refuse to pay money, like real money, on this game. Now, in these types of games, I have invested some amount of money in exchange for entertainment, which I've never regretted. There are two games, or at least no, actually there is one game that where I invested real money, that is Era of Chaos. You know, the Might and Magic genre. A couple of $100 in total, subscription service basically. It's very much like a subscription, and I still paid less to the Era of Chaos Crew, so Ubisoft or whoever they are, than to iRacing, by the way. That is also a subscription service on some level. So I have history with this, but just because I want to beat someone, I'm not going to do anything like, let's say, I go all in, paying thousands and thousands so that I see myself at the top of the charts. It just doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. So I could very well manage these kinds of issues. By the way, user interface is buggy, as you can see. So I could manage these issues. Oh, come on, something is really weird here. So, and ultimately, I could find balance. But what I can see with many content creators as well, not just regular, and then imagine the regular players. Regular players are even worse. With many content creators, they are like traumatized. And even in Godforge, there are multiple creators you can see in the thread who are like, okay, this was my trauma with Raid, let me give you a chance. Because I want to do something, I'm hooked into this concept. I don't mind the grinding anymore because I got desensitized to it. Desensitized doesn't mean that it's a healthy thing. I don't think it's a healthy thing. I prefer background battles, you know. And even if it takes time, I want to have the choice of doing background battles or watching. I don't mind if some people want to watch all these things. I don't care about this. What I care about is that I have the option of closing the device, and then when I come back the battles are over. This is what I am all about. And if a game doesn't give me this, so for example in Alpha 1 I was part of it, I couldn't go past level 60 either, not because I didn't know that it was grinding or whatever. I didn't mind about that much. It was because every single hour I had to come back to the computer, maybe twice an hour, because I had to restart the client due to a memory leak, and this basically killed it for me. So this, I just couldn't manage this because I couldn't put in the hours. Because for me to put in the hours, whenever my computer has to be open anyway for other reasons, I want to do basically types of battles, like background battles, that essentially don't require you to keep your computer open. There you go, another 5-star. How many 5 stars do we have already? So this is how you rank up. This whole thing is just for one hero, by the way. Not sure if you've noticed. And we need 4 more. So that you see this is what it takes to get to a 6-star hero, by the way. And the interface sometimes is still buggy, so you saw that sometimes I select a new hero and the old hero comes to the promotion location. By the way, you can do it this way as well, that you select this, and then you go here, select this, but sometimes it's buggy because if you don't do the selection properly, you see, then it doesn't work, but this time it did. So go 3 stars and 4 stars. I'm intentionally using the rares because I don't have enough inventory and I cannot buy it with like gold or anything else. So you see, this is what it takes to upgrade just one champion from 5 stars to 6 stars. So all my explanation has been going through this, and somehow you need to win these heroes, you know? And it's not only that you have to win them, you also need to train them. So this is the difficulty. For 2 stars I'm still using these spirits. Not alcohol spirits, but spirits. Because there are not enough. For 3 stars I think I've emptied my inventory well enough. And I need a few more. And then we'll be able to 6-star a hero. So this is how you 6-star someone from scratch. And meanwhile we're talking about the genre. So I have hopes for Godforge because I think that they have what it takes to make it a great game. Etheria Restart is already a good enough game. So with Etheria you can see this already. That they made a lot of improvements that simply even Raid couldn't fully ignore. And for this reason, Raid started giving us more quality of life updates. And these quality of life updates keep on getting rolled out. And that's amazing as well. I should have selected this, doesn't matter. That's amazing as well, because it makes the whole genre better. By the way, so that you understand where this whole thing is coming from, there was a game called Cookie Clicker. You can see it on Steam, I think it's still free of charge. Cookie Clicker. And these types of idle clickers are like, after a given amount of time, so first you click and then you just buy stuff that give you things with time. So there is time and there is also just the clicks. This is food as well, so I'll select. And after a while, you're gonna get stronger and stronger and stronger. This is some sort of a compulsion loop, and psychologically you're hooked into like getting you can say it's not healthy, like dopamine in your brain, right? Dopamine is not the type of thing that you want in the long run, it's oxytocin that you want in the long run. That's why I'm using these games as a tool and not means to gain satisfaction. So for example, when I open shards, you've never seen me like either cry or be like really happy about it. And it's not because these emotions are repressed or suppressed or anything. I can be really happy about real life things. But to open a freaking shard and to get some sort of a hero or champion that does something extra in the game, I mean, I know that sooner or later I will get it anyway. It's not a big deal. It's some level of maturity rather, I would say. But it's not as entertaining as Ash opening all his shards, right? Because this is content that a lot of people watch because they sympathize with the setbacks as well as when he's happy about something. So he has his own niche, right, in there, and he's damn good about it. Let's put it this way. He's damn good about what he's doing. But I am not that type because of the reason that I just, you know, enjoy progression in a healthy way, and I try to reverse engineer it, and I try to replicate it with my own skills, not the gameplay, but some tooling and some other things in the background. So, while talking about this, I have received 5 stars, and this is how you 6-star a hero. There you go. Promote, and then spend 1.9 million extra talent potions, whatever these are, and now Loki is officially 6-starred. Alright, that's what this is the amount of work. How much time did it take? 22 minutes for this whole video. Out of these 22 minutes, I did almost 20 minutes of inventory work to reduce my inventory of heroes. And all that this did, and hopefully this answers your question about grinding, is that I got a 6th star. I had 5 stars, now I have 6 stars. And then you continue grinding. Basically, I did a depth first type of work, not breadth first. This means that I was focusing on my legendaries to see what they can accomplish. I also have an epic, but unless the game drops me some extra 5-star spirits, I don't think I'm gonna try this out. And this is all I could try out, at least in this playthrough. Alright, there won't be any action in this video because I figured out that I basically talked a bit too much about this genre and how this genre can be saved and how you can be saved so that you don't go down the rabbit hole of, oh, I will grind, oh, there is too much grind, oh, I couldn't complete something so I'm not good enough, okay, let me pay. And then you pay 50, then you pay 100, then you pay another 100, 200, and all of a sudden you figure out that you could have bought a car, but instead you bought pixels in a game. So, I don't recommend doing this. It doesn't mean that I don't pay for certain game experience, even if it's free to play pay to win. It has happened before, but all those purchases without exception were planned in advance, not only planned in advance, but also budgeted in advance before the offers came. So I was like, okay, I like this game quite a lot, I want to support this idea, let me go and make some investment. It's not really investment because you cannot sell it, but let me make some purchase, and let me research what the best purchases are. And then I go and purchase. With Era of Chaos I did it. With Dragonair I almost did it. Because near the middle, I figured out, listen, this is a good game. Although the campaign itself is dumb, it is a good game. But then I figured out that just when I was about to reward that experience with real money, the game became far too repetitive. Not that grindy, but already far too repetitive. Basically, it was all about following a yellow exclamation mark, this is the next thing. Discussions don't matter. Dice rolls don't matter. It's just, you know, you move forward, click, you get some dialogue, and then you move ahead regardless of what your choices are. Because your choices don't matter. And that's when I figured out, okay, I just want to get done with the campaign, I don't want to grind, I don't want to compose teams to do PvP, and then I just exited Dragonair. See, this is also a possibility. And they almost made it that I purchased something in there. Almost, it was really close to it. But the bar was too high for them. And with Godforge, I don't know yet. It depends on the concept, it depends on the launch. For a cavern experience, I would obviously not pay real money like ever. This is like a cookie clicker to me. For something that is a mix of raid, Ethereal Restart, and there is an esports component to it, an esports element, I would happily pay. More than happily. Hundreds. So I would say 200 a year is something I would definitely budget for an esports type of experience. Even if I don't come out at the top, because why would I? There are tens of thousands of people, and this is not my main job. It's like even chess grandmasters study for years. So even then I would be willing to compete, and I would be willing to pay. But just so that I complete a fusion just like in Raid, if the game screws me over, then it's like I do a full boycott, in a sense that I just won't pay anything. Alright, this is my opinion about pay-to-win, free-to-play types of games. In the next video, now that I have 5-6 star legendaries, we'll put them to the test. Also, I improved their gear. And we're gonna go to level 105.